Because a lot of people like kind of just look at a white rapper and they assume that he's sort of attempting to get in on something else. But the way you're talking, it sounds like you sort of like grew up around so much stuff that it maybe didn't even ever seem weird to you that you wanted to rap. Or
Exactly.
it didn't stand out to you as, because like if I had decided that I wanted to rap in like 97 when I was like going to high school, I feel like it would have been like a way bigger thing. Whereas I think you coming from like a younger generation and like a different way of thinking about shit, that it probably didn't feel that out of the ordinary for you.
It just was something I was passionate about. But even now, like I have enough perspective to realize why people are kind of still put off by it a little bit. It's not unheard of anymore, but people still will alienate you. I still walk in the rooms and feel like, yeah, I'm white in here.
Do you feel like you have to prove yourself artistically to a level just because you want people to know how serious you are about the music?
I do. It gives you a little chip on your shoulder, I ain't gonna lie. Even gives you a small complex. Used to affect the way I used to make music.
Right.
I wanted to be that kid that could prove he could rap. Now it's kind of moving into a space where I just want to make good music.
Right.
And show people that I'm a whole dynamic person. I don't feel like I had to be this one type of artist. But early on, it was like, oh, this is how they treat you when you're white? I guess I got to do this to show them that I can really do this.
Right.
But definitely, it gives you a little complex, bro. Like, people treat you different.
That's interesting. But do you feel like you get love for the most part? Or like, do you feel like you're always kind of in a position of sort of showing people like, nah, I really am
For sure, because
what I'm putting out there?
Yeah, the shock value that comes with it is beneficial in the end. So there's privilege to it, and then there's, of course, like, you feel like there's walls up. But then you look at Post Malone, and it's like, come on.
How do you feel about Posty?
I respect him a lot. I feel like he's a good guy. He has songs I like too. So
Seems like
I'm
one of
into
the
him.
best guys.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
You never hear anybody talking about he's a dick. And being that famous, I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty hard to not be a dick.
I can see that. It seemed like he comes from a grounded situation. So do I. So I can
He's still
see it,
drinking
you know.
Bud Light.
Yeah.
That's some shit. If you don't ever switch up and you just keep drinking Bud Light, I mean, shit, he's probably making millions off Bud Light.
That's what I'm saying. I'll keep drinking for whatever they're paying him.
Exactly. What do you drink?
You know what's crazy? So I'm a Ciroc boy. I rock with Diddy. I'm all about my Ciroc. But these last few days on tour, I kind of challenged myself to let go of drinking a little bit. So I've been sober for like the last 7 shows.
How's that going?
Feels great.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like I'm tapping into something different. I don't know, like I'm going out on stage. I think for a while there it was becoming a bit of a crutch to go on stage and get that auto confidence off the liquor.
But is that what you're doing? Like banging a couple shots before you went on stage or something?
No, I was getting faded. Like I was getting messed up before I
Fucked
go
up.
out. And I
Damn,
think the
really?
last straw was DC. I was gone on stage, and I felt like I did a bad show almost. Now the fans there, they keep DMing me because I be venting about this online.
Right.
They DM me like the show was good, don't worry about it. But I felt kind of iffy about it. So next day I did Charlotte sober, one of my best performances. So I was like, let me roll with this. And so I think I'm gonna finish the tour out like this. But to answer your original question, I'm a Ciroc boy.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Like, I feel like there's been times where I was drunk as shit, let's say, and I was like at somebody's show or whatever, and because I was totally out of my mind, I felt completely confident, like going up to the crowd and getting everybody all hyped and stuff. And when I'm fucking sober or when I'm smoking weed, that is so not like my personality to like run out on stage and get everybody all hyped up. I respect the fuck out of people like DJs and shit who that's what they do. They just go out there and get everybody hyped up, and they can do it. They don't have to be fucked up at all, but they get the energy going crazy with the audience. I mean, that is such like an underrated skill.
I agree with you. It's like a switch you have to hit. The thing I've been enjoying about being sober is I feel like there's more control. Like I get kind of mood swingy when I'm in a different state of mind. So when I'm just on that sober vibe, I feel like I can control everything and really tap into like doing a good job for the crowd, make eye contact, talk to them. So I like it.
You don't sound like you have that like alcoholic gene where like some people they just start drinking and it's over. Like they're just gonna be a fucking alcoholic for life. Or were you ever like that?
Nah, I was never like that. In fact, I didn't even drink in high school. I was kind of late to the party. Atlanta's when I got introduced to even most of my vices. I think I'm just like self-aware, so I be trying to make sure I'm not going over the edge. You feel me?
Definitely. So what was high school like in terms of were you recording or at least rapping from like a very early stage?
Yeah, everybody knew me as a kid in the city that rapped because I was passing out mixtapes and I was dropping songs online. It was mostly just bubbling in my hometown, but I was well known. Like people either liked me or they hated me. Like a lot of people thought I was a lame. Yeah, but I had it going.
But how did you feel about that? Did you feel like you kind of looked like a nerd or something and that you were like trying to just convince everybody like not? Did you have that confidence to just be like, nah, I'm not a lame? Like what was
100%.
it like fighting against that?
100%. But it was another thing to give me one of those chips on my shoulder of like, you know, got to prove something. But I think I've always had like a certain level of like knowing who I am, regardless of how people see me, even though I can still take it into account. But
Right.
I knew in high school, like, I was tight. I knew I was fly. Like, I
Right.
knew what I had going on. I was feeling myself early, so it was cool. In
And
high
that-
school, I enjoyed it.
That's the crazy thing about being a rapper. Like when you are starting from nothing, is that it really is so much about like that confidence, even though you don't really have that much to be confident about. Like you don't have fans yet, like that many fans. You don't have like the money and the whatever that you want, but you still have to like go out there and exude enough confidence to convince everybody that you actually are capable of being this thing.
Yep. You just got your balls and your word. You're either that or you aren't. You just be feeling yourself, whether you do or not. But I totally agree with you. It's all about, do you really love yourself?
And that's the number one thing when I'm looking at new rappers when I'm on stream or whatever is like, do they seem like they really believe it? It's probably like one of the biggest things, even beyond just their musical ability and stuff, is like, do they seem like they believe or they're confident enough to really embody this?
That's the number one component. That's the number one thing. Sometimes I'll write something and I'll be in the wrong frame of mind, like whatever's going on, but I ain't feeling myself that day. But the bars on paper, hard as it gets. I go in the booth, spit it. You can feel in my voice that I don't mean what I'm saying. That happens to me. I make songs that ain't like that.
Really?
And you go in and you know. But then sometimes you're in that mood today, but it's like you said, it's all energy. It don't matter. The bars are second to everything. The bars are how you use your voice. Do we believe you?
Exactly.
Do you believe yourself? You can feel that.
And that's why everybody starts getting fucked up in the studio, like what you're describing when you move to Atlanta or whatever, is because you're trying to just recreate and recapture,
You're looking for an energy.
and yeah, that to get it artificially. The problem is that it's subtracting the energy that you will have the next day, and that compounds upon itself, and all of a
And
sudden
you
you're
get reliant,
fucked.
yeah. It's a trap, but at the same time, you just are doing anything you can to tap into that magic that makes people say that.
And because we all know that there's Futures, there's Lil Uzis, there's all these people who, when you listen to their music, certain songs of theirs that you can tell that they were fucked up and that made the song better. 3 6 Mafia is like, I'm sorry, if they never did drugs, they might not have made a lot of that music. And, you know, it's like, we know that shit was inspired by that, so you can't blame rappers for thinking like, damn, I gotta fuck with and see what's up with this lean.
To see, I don't even try nothing outside of the studio. Because that's where I want to find something. I want to tap
Right.
into something.
That's the lab. That's where people end up experimenting. At least there's a purpose there. I mean, it's better than just like sitting in your house watching Sports Center.
Yeah.
So you're in high school, and how far, like when did you start to feel like it was really starting to come together? Like you were getting a fan base together? Was it happening online?
It was like a hometown thing completely. Everyone in Louisville was starting to know about me, but I realized I needed to keep it moving. So I went to Atlanta and got it jumping. Met Drama shortly after I moved, but me and my boy, we had actually gotten a job at Georgia State, but I originally moved down with my homie Urban, photographer, and my boy 2 for 1, my producer. So we went down there together and just went in. We tried to work, and we were down there with KY Engineering, and things just slowly came together. Like I said, I met Drama, and he said he wanted to sign me, put me in a better position since. So Atlanta is what I owe a lot of the changes to.
Right.
It influenced how I was making music. It introduced me to those horrible vices. It put me in this new space that I was never in Louisville.
Were you sure that you couldn't do what you were trying to do or make it in Louisville? Like I mean, almost everybody ends up with that conclusion that they got to go to LA, Atlanta, or New York.
It's funny because it's like, it's hard to say because the internet now, you can do it from anywhere. But there is an argument for just putting your face in another room. When I moved to Atlanta, I just started meeting producers and people that I had grown up idolizing and knowing about. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it changes everything when you just are showing face.
Atlanta is such a place where you can just go there, and if you have any degree of like connections or whatever, you could easily start just bouncing between different studios and just meeting all these different people. It's like there's an insane energy out there. Out here, there is some of that, but it's also like, this is Hollywood. Like everybody's super business focused. There's labels out here. Like people are in their own sessions. They're working on their own shit. Atlanta feels much more
Very accessible.
collaborative. Yeah.
Very collaborative and accessible. And it's 6 hours from Louisville, so we were just bouncing down there before I moved.
That's tight.
Atlanta changed things.
I went actually, like the majority of the time I spent in Atlanta was with Shoreline.
I remember that. You were at Mean Street.
Right, yeah, and they were recording with like at Drama's spot. So is that how that happened? Like, do you end up going there to record one night, and then you sort of start getting on Drama's radar?
So I was brought there to meet Drama. You know,
Right.
he'd be there. It's his studio, so he spends his evenings there. So when I came, I was introduced to him, and that night he had me just record, and I was showing up, and then when I signed, I've been in there every night since.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so you just basically ended up making a song or two in front of him, and he was just sort of just watching you and like paying attention to you.
Not in front of him, but I like shook his hand, and then he like left the room, and then I recorded.
Right.
But we got cool just bouncing around being in the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
That's tight.